Hello. I have successfully done a Skyrim challenge. I do not have the problems I had last time with Skyrim crashing and then corrupting the entire file, but I also kept stopping my recording midway through. So that way, if I did lose it, I didn't have to replay the entire game. So that's a positive. So today's Skyrim challenge was not the same one I was doing last time. This time, I was doing shouts only. So to start a character creation, where I decided to play a Breton because I wanted that magical resistance, because I had a feeling that a lot of the game was going to be about avoiding damage, not dealing it. So another part of that was to avoid level ups as much as possible and use the level ups I get to regenerate health mid-combat. So I then choose to go with the Stormcloaks, which I did because I wanted to be able to get heavy armor as early as possible. I make a stop when leaving Helgen, pick up a shield, and that is my plan for today, for this game. Shield, heavy armor. So I take all of that gear, and I leave Helgen, and I run to Riverwood. I get to Riverwood, and I steal a steel shield from the blacksmith, and pretty much at that point, I had all of the gear I was going to use for the game, because I did not prepare very well in most of this game. I did not make good plans. Decisions were made. They were not the correct decisions. If you have not noticed, which honestly I don't think people will, because people don't generally watch these on the first day with my channel size. This is about 5 hours later, almost 6 hours later as of recording this. Then I usually upload videos. I started 3 hours before. So I started at 9. It is currently 6-ish. So it took me too long to do this. I did take breaks, but I tried to complete this as quickly as possible. And you will eventually realize what took me so long. So I go through and enter the barrow. I free the Swift. One of the Draugr kills them, which means I did not deal damage through anything that wasn't a shout, because I currently don't have shouts. So I take the golden claw from him, go through, free the Draugr that has the Dragonstone, lead him to the nearby trap, and kill him. I then collect all magic items because I wanted to get experience, and when I reach Whiterun, I de-enchant all of them. So then I de-enchant for levels. I give the guy the Dragonstone, all normal Skyrim stuff. Then I follow person to the first dragon attack at the Watchtower, and I just kind of let the guards do their thing because I don't particularly care enough to try to solve that problem for them. So then the next thing I do is I fast travel back to Helgen, and I go up to Everstead. I just go up the stairs and do the High Hrothgar quests and get the quest to go collect the horn of Jurgen Windcaller. I go back down to Everstead and do the barrow that's right next to it. So I enter that barrow, I do all the necessary things until I reach the end of it, and I realize that I need to kill enemies. I don't have the ability to deal damage. So I leave. I reload back to when I first entered, and I just don't do that barrow. But I go to the other nearby barrow. And this one's related to the Galder Amulet quest line. So I enter that barrow. I drop down a pit, and I get to the end, and I realize that again there's a boss fight where I have to fight the enemies. So I get annoyed, and I decide to hit them with my unrelenting force, and I realize a fact that will curse my entire run, really, and demonstrate really the pace that this entire run will follow. I realize that it takes a small bit of damage. So I do that for an absurdly long amount of time and get the Galderson, I don't remember his first name, but Galderson, down because, it's annoying trying to dodge a bunch of arrows, and I knew I was going to die sometimes. And I realize whenever he teleports, I can forward through time. Which means that every autosave and quick save I have from before I entered goes away. Which means that when I realize that they're regenerating health whenever they're down and I don't recharge fast enough to kill them, I have no way out other than to break my rules or to go back really far. So I decide, screw it. I'm going to punch the guy to death just for his last health. Nothing else. I killed him most of the way. And I would have killed him if it wasn't for that regenerating health with just my voice. But I punch him down. And I realize that he does not give me a shout. I was trying to get a shout. The reason I was going to barrows was trying to get a shout that I could use in combat. But but I do not get a shout for fighting Galderson. All I get is a single amulet, one of the Galder amulet fragments. And I realize that amulet is completely useless to me, because I immediately go get the Amulet of Talos, which is pretty much required. It reduces shout time by 20%. I decide, you know what? I don't need to fight enemies. So I can go get to the Horn of Jurgen Windcaller. It's been stolen though, so I leave, forgetting to have picked up the word that gives you invulnerability. I then go to Delphine, get the horn, talk to her, go get the final word of the shout, and get talked at by the Greybeards. You know, again, normal Skyrim stuff. But then I go back to the Crypt of Jurgen Windcaller, get the new word of power that I forgot to grab, and put the Horn of Jurgen Windcaller back and regain Dragon Soul. I also, on my way back from the Crypt of Jurgen Windcaller, go through a barrow and actually get a word of power. I got Frost Breath, and that was another piece of the Galder amulet that I also did not realize. But this one I did not pick up. I just kind of ran by the person and got the word of power and left. Because again, dealing damage in this game with just using the voice is incredibly bad. It is absolutely ridiculous. So I then go to Delphine and kill the dragon. She now knows I'm Dragonborn. She tells me about the Thalmor Embassy, and I go to the Thalmor Embassy. The Thalmor Embassy was annoying. So I ran through the first 2 rooms, triggering aggro on everyone, entered the last room, ran down, realized that there was no way for me to get out because I don't have a key and I don't have a way to deal enough damage to get a key from anyone. So I reload previous save. I try doing that again, but through stealth. They notice me immediately and I saved it over my quick save, which means I have no choice but to try to kill the enemies. I fail, but I load an autosave. That autosave, no one's triggered aggro on me for some reason, even though in the past I should have triggered aggro on people. I use stealth to get past the people and grab a key. I free the person, I grab another key, and I get out of there. So if you've not noticed, the problem with using shouts only is it really just means that either you're doing stealth or you're just running by the enemies and hoping for the best. It's not really a fight the enemies sort of challenge. But regardless, I get back to Delphine. I tell her about Esbern, where he is. Then I go to Riften. I run by all the enemies. Again, I go to Esbern, talk to him. He starts following me. I run out, ignoring all the people from the Thalmor. Then fast travel out of Riften back to Riverwood. I talk to Delphine again, and she's like, okay, we need to go to Alduin's wall. So, again, run by every single enemy because it's not effective. Wait through long cutscenes, Skyrim stuff. Pretty much learn I need to get the Dragonrend shout. I go back to the Greybeards. They tell me the name of it being Dragonrend, and I go up to meet Parthenax. Parthenax tells me that he does not know the shout because dragons can't. And he tells me in order to learn it, I need to get the Elder Scroll. I already know where any person needs to talk to, so I don't do the quest line to learn where it is. I just go up to talk to the insane guy. He tells me where to go find it. I go over to there, go through Blackreach again, ignoring every single enemy, just running by them and hoping for the best. I eventually reach a point where I need to fall down go through a giant pathway, and I'm like, I have that vulnerability shout. I use that vulnerability shout and fall down that path instead of having to fight my way through the enemies, and I get into Blackreach. I go through Blackreach, just fine. I do the puzzle, which is just press the buttons until the next button lights up, and then I leave having the Elder Scroll. I go up to Parthenax, and I learn Dragonrend shout through the time wound. That's its name. Time wound. So then I learn learn Dragonrend. Rend. I then have the Alduin come down to fight me. This fight was so slow, and all it really consisted of was me using Dragonrend. He lands. I use my Frost Breath shout, takes a little bit of damage. Then while I'm waiting for that to recharge, he flies off again, which means I get 1 hit for every time I use Dragonrend. So it takes an eternity. Also, Parthenax just hates me and will stop attacking halfway through. Not even halfway through, like a quarter of the way through. But I defeat Alduin and he flies away. I arrange a peace council, go up to trap Odahviing, go up to Alduin's lair, get up to the actual door, try to get through there, and realize I am not prepared. So I load a previous save, and I'm like, I need to prepare. So I go down, do some alchemy things where I just trained at the person, used the reset glitch because I did not want to have to just wait 48 hours between each reset. I took a bunch of ingredients, I made a bunch of potions, I sold all the potions, lost a lot of money. I spent one of my points on actually boosting alchemy because I wanted to have actually good potions in my fight. Get a couple of potions, I'm not sure how many, didn't really matter. But then I leave and realize that the save I loaded was before the Peace Council. So I redo the Peace Council. I go back up with a bunch of potions. I run by all the enemies. I enter the actual crypt area. I run by the enemies again, doing the puzzles as fast as I can so that I don't need to heal as frequently. I get through the first few puzzles because I have memorized the solutions because it was so frustrating. I get through each of the puzzles only using I think a couple of healing potions, if not none. I get through the puzzles and get past where I was originally. Then I just run past all the enemies again, jump into Sovngarde. Okay, now I go through Sovngarde. I find the guy who wants to challenge you in order to save the world. He kills me because apparently that guy does not like the world. But I come back through time and kill him using the fire breath shout. So then I find the people who defeated him previously. I go out and we clear the fog, and then I let them do all of the work because it was seriously ineffective to try to do any of the work yourself. Then I defeat Aldwin and I leave. Now, I'm going to rate every challenge I do in 3 ways. Fun. So, how fun is the challenge? How difficult is the challenge really? In time. How time consuming is the challenge? Time consuming on a scale of 1 to 10. I would rate this as a 6. It took a while. The second category, challenging. It wasn't really a challenging thing because you didn't do anything. You kind of just ran by all the enemies unless you had a boss, in which case you would hide behind a wall. The enemy with a single attack, hide behind the wall for a minute. In terms of challenge, I'd probably rate it a 3 out of 10. Then in terms of fun, I would rate it a 2. It was not a fun challenge because you didn't do anything. Because it isn't something you can upgrade or get better at over time. Really, you were just getting left behind as the enemies got stronger and you didn't. And because you were already unable to kill enemies for the majority of the game, you really were just doing nothing the entire game. I don't know how I spent so long on this because I didn't do much. Most of that time was either going between locations, waiting through cutscenes, or trying to kill a boss. So, funness, 2 out of 10. Challenge, 3 out of 10. Time consumingness, 6 out of 10. Bye. Signing off for hopefully not the last time, someone who is never on topic.